Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Bannon, Airspeed Prime is my username on YouTube, and this is going to be my first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video, and it's going to be a review of the opening two-parter, the first two episodes of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show on Nickelodeon. That just premiered this basically weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in the UK, so yep, that's what this video is going to be about. I'm just going to review, give my opening thoughts, and if these are reasonably popular, I guess I'll do more of them. So, first of all, I suppose I'll start off with my own experience with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And, when I was young, I do remember actually watching the, first show, that original show, I was never that big of a fan of it, and I'm kind of still not the biggest fan. It's a fun show to watch, but nowhere near one of my favourite shows. The 2003 show, on the other hand, though, is one of my favourite shows ever, and I really do enjoy that, and I think it's a lot better than the original show in terms of the way the characters are done, the story, and so on. So, naturally, when this new Nick show was announced, I was excited because, one, new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show, and on the other hand as well because it's another show on Nick, and The Legend of Korra is one of my favourite shows on right now. Probably that's my main fandom, and this is going to be the kind of biggest, I suppose, competition, the other show to kind of judge Nick by at this stage, judge Korra against. So I was interested in this show on those two counts, and so I suppose I'll just start with my opening thoughts on the show. Overall, I was really impressed with it. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious, while at the same time having good character development, setting up story, and so on. So yeah, I was really happy about it. I don't really have many negatives at all about the opening two episodes. But yeah, I'll discuss it in more depth. The first topic, I suppose, will be the animation and the look of the characters. You'll probably see throughout this video various screenshots I'm going to kind of cut to and from. So to give you an idea what I'm talking about, the animation is really interesting. The biggest comparison I could probably say would be to the new Transformers show that's out right now, Transformers Prime, that's been airing. The characters look that kind of style of CG animation. And I like that show, and I'm pretty impressed with the way it's done here. The characters are really expressive. I love the use of the kind of little anime effects on their eyes and stuff like that when they're thinking and stuff like that. They are really well done and just add to the expression and humour and characterization in the episode. And then when they do flashbacks in this show, they kind of go to a more kind of 2D animation style, kind of web comic style, I suppose, movement in comic panels. And that's also an interesting way to do it, and I think a lot of shows do it that way nowadays. Transformers Prime, when it does flashbacks as well, does the same thing. It kind of has these concept art images, and they kind of have slight movement in them, and it does a good job of telling the story. So yeah, I'm impressed with the animation. The fight scenes are done really well as well, actually. You really get the sense that they have researched a lot about fighting styles, correct weapon forms and stuff like that. It's so well done with all the various Turtles weapons and so on. So yeah, animation I was pretty impressed with. It'll be interesting to see kind of how they do more fights, kind of make kind of each fight unique and not just be the same thing over and over again. So that'll be interesting going forward. But I'll get into a bit on the voice actors now, and yeah, I'm again pretty impressed. When I first saw the clips, I wasn't overly impressed with some of the voice work, but having seen a full episode and not just a clip, it works quite well. The voice actors are... First actor for Mikey, I suppose, was the one, Michelangelo was the one I was a bit kind of concerned about from the trailers, but in a full episode it just works so well at getting that humour out, and that he is the kind of a bit away with the not quite all there, and the kind of funny one of the group, um, with severe lack of focus. You really get the sense that that's like that. Just some of the stuff he says, like the scene when they first get to the surface and they sees the kind of neon lights in the shop, and he's just like, a hand made of light, an eye, a hand, an eye, a hand, an eye, and they're just like, what's he doing, and pull him away. That was perfect. The voice actor for Leonardo is also, um, yes, just does the job really well of having him be the most balanced one. Raphael, again, it's clear to see that the voice actor for him, who's the actor for Sam in Lord of the Rings, also does a good job at getting Raph as the kind of brash one, while at the same time having that kind of sensitive side with his pet turtle. Uh, Donnie, again, really well done. I don't have much problems with the voice actors. April, voiced by Mae Whitman, who voices Katara in Avatar: The Last Airbender. That was an interesting thing because you could definitely tell that that's the same voice actress, and that was an interesting thing to see in the episode. So I'm impressed with the voice actor stuff. Shredder at the end, I suppose, is the big one that people are a bit concerned about, but he basically transforms Prime Bulkhead as the Shredder, but he had a menacing kind of tone to the voice, and I quite like it in this thing. So I'll move on to story next, basically the plot of the first two episodes. I suppose a comparison with how things go in this show compared to the other two. Um, for the most part, you have stuff pretty much the same, except the big difference would be that Splinter's origin is different compared to the 2003 show. In that show, he was a rat, and he was mutated by the same stuff as the turtles, and they both kind of got anthropomorphized basically by the mutagen. And in the original show, I think he was a human and touched off a rat at the same time as he was being mutated, so he became the anthropomorphized rat. And they do the same thing here, and I have to admit, I would prefer probably if they did make him an animal, because I just like having the turtles and Splinter have that kind of exact same origin, both being animals that were affected by the mutagen goo and became a kind of human-like anthropomorphized. So I prefer that kind of origin story, but I think the way that they tell his origin story in the Splinter, with the whole thing of the love of a woman came between them, his daughter and stuff like that, I like the way that they do that. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see how it's done here. And as for the story, you have the Krang basically replacing the Utroms from the 2003 show, which I suppose you have to say, like, why don't they just keep the Utroms? Because it's not like there's just one Krang and so on. It's just a bit odd. It'll be interesting to see what they do with them. I kind of like the way they kind of speak. What are you doing in this place of places? And this thing bringing you to this place. I thought that was kind of hilarious that they just kept continuing that throughout the whole episode, and just really funny. But yeah, the way they kind of come up on the surface, find pizza and stuff like that, it was really well done. They made the turtles younger, 15 compared to what they're on the other shows, and it was really interesting to see the turtles exploring the kind of above ground and experiencing it for the first time, and stuff like that. And then their kind of hero side coming out like almost instantaneously. It was nicely done. I'll go into the characters a bit now. I suppose the first obvious ones to start off with are the turtles. I'll start with Leonardo. He's my favourite turtle. I like that you get to see kind of how the leader is chosen here, and that when Splinter said he was the first one to put up his hand, and that's kind of his whole character thing. He watches that show, Space Wars or something like that, I think it's called. That's basically a parody of Star Trek, and he wants to be like the leader from that show, and everyone kind of criticizes him for that, like, oh, that stupid show, but he kind of really believes that. And I like the way they kind of add that fanboy aspect to Leonardo's character, and that he's trying to really lead them like that. So him developing into a proper leader, kind of as we see in these opening two episodes. And I suppose the turtles as a whole as well, how they develop from only knowing really how to fight each other individually to fighting as a team. They fail the first time, and then as they get more experience, they kind of learn to fight together, and they're like doing the whole kind of boost jump thing with each other and stuff like that. It's really well done, and the whole thing with Leonardo, the hand signals and the way Raphael and Mikey learn to realize what they are is nicely done too. Um, so yeah, I like Leonardo. He's usually the most balanced turtle, I suppose, in terms of his personality. But I suppose going to the next turtle, you can get the sense that there is that kind of rivalry between Leonardo and Raphael, as basically they both beat Michelangelo and Donatello, and then it was left the big fight between the best two fighters of the group, Leonardo and Raphael. And this was also presented in the 2003 show, that they had a rivalry, and it's definitely being set up here already that Raphael is the one that's most cut up about not being chosen as leader because he thinks he's the best fighter. But as you see the episode, you see that Raphael does not think nearly at all while they're out on these missions. It left up for the rest of them to think, Donatello, Leonardo to think. So for Leonardo to be made leader, it makes complete sense, and you see why Raphael shouldn't be leader. The whole kind of comment about not understanding technology at all, not really knowing strategy at all. He's probably the best fighter of them, but that doesn't make a good leader. And I like that thing with Raphael. Him as a character, he's kind of like a mix between the 2003 show and the 1989 show, in that he is really sarcastic, but at the same time he's also the most brash and kind of aggressive one of the group. And I like that, and they also give him the kind of soft side of having the pet turtle, which Michelangelo thinks is adorable, which was a really nice scene between those two. He starts chasing him because he doesn't like people to think he's anything but tough. So that was a great scene also. I'm saying everything's great, but I really did enjoy the opening two-parter. Get into Mikey now. Often people think he's the most annoying character, but I think he's really so well done here. Just the fact that he is the youngest of them, you can tell he does have a lot of skill. He's just kind of constantly distracted by a lot of things, and they tend to not believe him because of this and stuff like that. But I like the way that they make him kind of the most eccentric, I suppose, of the turtles, kind of all over the place and stuff like that. He added so much of the humor to the show, and yeah, for him, I think, to become a really good character in this show, it'll be interesting to see maybe how they do an episode where he's kind of forced to be a bit more serious. The same kind of goes for the other characters, like when Leo kind of, like he did in the 2003 show, kind of maybe struggles if he gets defeated too often, and like Raphael dealing with his anger. Like I hope they do stuff like that with the characters. And then Donatello's next, and the brains. That's pretty much what they always do with Donatello, and not much has changed here, except they kind of add that he's the one who has the crush on April when he first sees her, and it's interesting that he's the first one to kind of make them heroes. Basically, he's the one who wants to save April and stuff like that, and I like that it was him, and you had basically him be the most brave of the group, constantly going after him, and then his brothers backing Donatello up because of this, understanding that they need to be heroes. And I kind of added into Leonardo kind of thinking, oh, you may be the leader because you want us to be the best heroes of all time or something like that, but no. So I'll move on to April. The turtles are really well done, and April, we don't get to see a whole lot of her because she's captured at first, but we see that she does have that kind of feisty side to her when she tries to escape by coming up with the plan of being sick, and then attempting to kind of smash the guy in the face, but it doesn't work out. You can tell that she has that feisty side in her. She also kind of wants to be make a difference, I suppose, in this case, and this is kind of where the main plot is set up, in that she and the turtles are going to have to try and save her father from the Utroms and their plan of capturing all these scientists. So yeah, that was I liked April in this episode. I like that they made her a kind of younger character, so she's kind of a more on a kind of level kind of playing field with the turtles, as opposed to being a lot older than them, and her being kind of like the mother figure to them. So, yep. Next, Splinter. Again, I talked about his origin and how I would have probably preferred if he was just a rat at the start, but I think having him had the having that human kind of history to him with the Shredder opens a lot of possibilities for going kind of deep into the conflict that he's had in the past with the Shredder. So that's interesting. We don't get a lot on the foot, and Splinter. Oh, I mean Shredder. Yeah. At the end, beyond that, it appears that in the fight in the past, that the Shredder was pretty badly burned and kind of tends to cover up that sort of stuff. So you get the sense of why that big vendetta is there for him. Finally, just I suppose the mutagen kind of coming into play again. Like that seems to be back, and the interesting thing is that the turtles were mutated by green mutagen, and Snake was mutated into snakeweed by kind of green, white, blue, whitish mutagen. So is there going to be like different properties to each of them and so on? Is there different colours and stuff like that? There's mutants are also going to play a bigger role, kind of adding to the fact there's probably going to be episodes where like they're very much to themselves, probably while adding to the plot as opposed to everything being plot focused. But overall, I'm impressed with the first two episodes. What's the big thing going forward, I suppose, will be how much development they give to the characters and how much they kind of tend to keep them the same, and then how much the plot is going to build on each other and how much continuity there's going to be between the episodes. But I'm definitely going to keep watching, and I recommend others keep watching. So, yep, that's been my review of the first two episodes of the show. And I suppose I didn't really get really specific into the whole plot of what happened in this episode, but I think it's better to kind of watch it yourself. In future reviews, I'll talk more about the plot. This was very much introduction stuff, so I'm just talking about characters and basic stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoyed this review. Thank you for watching, and bye.